Hello guys, DJParson here, and we have reached the finals of the World Championships all through the ages in 2021. 8 stages or 7 stages completed already. Just taking a little bit of a look back, we had a lot of players. 625 players have started in the tournament. If you see your name here, it's gonna be hard to find because there's so many names, so many players. 625, and it's down to 2 players. We're going to take a look at the road in the top 16. Of course, before these playoffs, there were a lot of other groups, but our 2 finalists are LaoHuang and EnderWiggin. LaoHuang, of course, the most experienced player all through the ages in the app, and with the app being that popular, probably in the world, most experienced player through the ages, with quite a good track record in tournaments, have to say. I'm maybe not very surprised because he's obviously a good player, but I wouldn't have expected him to go quite as far. I would have expected other players to be stronger than him. But he's proven himself once again that experience does translate to a very good place or very good results in tournaments. And his opponent, EnderWiggin, who was a favorite from the start, I would say. A lot of players know him as a very, very strong player. And expected him to come far, maybe even this far. So the finals, LaoHuang versus EnderWiggin, and we're gonna get right into the first match. LaoHuang will have the first turn, and he will get his favorite wonder, probably the favorite wonder of everybody, Acropolis, for him. We're gonna take a look at the leaders and wonders, and we see immediately Shakespeare and Bach. So maybe this first game is going to be Culture Fest, who knows? But there might also be counters. We have Sun Tzu, Colosseum, Barbarossa, Napoleon, Man and Project. So military is also an option. The Ocean Liner is here. We have no sewers. We do have Cook, Isabella, Eleanor, and again Barbarossa for some colonies, but without the sewers, probably not worth to focus on that. Gutenberg is here, so Gutenberg into Shakespeare or Darwin is a good option. Magic Castle, Red Cross, Bill Gates, no Marlene, no Hollywood. Okay, so LaoHuang has of course taken that Acropolis. Now EnderWiggin will decide to go for Boudica. Interesting. Feels like these Chinese players are valuing Boudica a little bit higher recently. Personally, I probably would have gone for Roman Roads. I still like that wonder a lot, but EnderWiggin apparently doesn't like it at all because he won't be getting it. It will disappear before that. Maybe he wants to go for Colosseum. We will find out. LaoHuang will go for Caesar. Alright. And build a mine. Caesar for 2 civil actions. Also not something you see every day. Interesting. Very interesting. EnderWiggin now will not be able to use the extra rocks or science or food from Boudica. He will have to use the double or the 2 rocks to build military if he wants to gain the other bonus. I mean, that's why LaoHuang wanted Caesar. So let's find out if EnderWiggin plans on using the 2 rocks for something. We'll build a mine, increase pop, and grab the Stonehenge. Okay, so no Colosseum, but the Stonehenge instead. And then probably next turn he can just build the free warrior with Boudica and get a science from the Stonehenge and doesn't need the early second philosophy. So if that is his plan, I like it. We also have 2 very good cards here, Breakthrough and Iron, both on 2. But first we get the development of planning. Let's check that out. Warfare, Settlement, Religion. Okay. And the second card that LaoHuang reveals is Development of Agriculture. He doesn't have a free population, so he can't take the development of warfare or religion, so he takes settlement instead. Takes the engineering genius, builds an extra lab, and can increase population probably twice. Yeah, increase that twice. Yeah, pretty standard stuff, but this will mean EnderWiggin gets the breakthrough and the iron on 1. He will be taking the settlement as well, and then he has free population to build the warrior for free because he got those 2 rocks thanks to Boudica. And what else does he do? He builds 2 stages of the Stonehenge, pops, and then no breakthrough or no iron, no breakthrough. Yeah, he couldn't get out of corruption without this, I guess. I mean, he maybe could have not built the second stage and take the breakthrough instead. Maybe I would have preferred that instead. The breakthrough is quite good, especially with him only having the philosophy. It's very good for him if he gets extra science besides the science from the Stonehenge. And I think it would have worked out with corruption, does increase pop, build one stage of the Stonehenge and take the breakthrough and the iron, but he decides against it, which is also understandable. The Stonehenge needs a lot of civil actions, so maybe he feels like he wants to keep or wants to start building on it, so that he spends some of those civil actions. Development of science, even more science now. LaoHuang can also still go for the iron, but he can also push once again. Development of civil life will be revealed. So he will increase population with that. Finishes this, the Acropolis, grabs iron and grabs the rich land. Yeah, pretty solid start. We don't have any printing presses built yet, at least. The second one, the first one is coming out. At least I think that's the first one. Yeah, it is. So I wouldn't be surprised if EnderWiggin still goes for that. He has skipped the philosophy. Also, LaoHuang is stronger now once again. So EnderWiggin has the 2 extra rocks for building military, which he will use. So he gets 2 free warriors already and has a legion, so 5 strength for him. He will finish the Stonehenge. Grabs the printing press and an engineering genius. Yeah, pretty solid as well. Getting those 3 warriors isn't bad with Boudica. So Boudica has given him 4 rocks already, and I think 1 science maybe at one time. I don't know, he built the warrior for free, and he also, so 4 extra rocks, 4 military, but yeah, 2 free warriors is not bad. LaoHuang now also goes for the iron, will upgrade 1 with the rich land, builds a warrior as well. Grabs the irrigation. Not completely sure why he wanted the extra warrior here. Doesn't feel like he would need it. I mean, maybe his plan is to next turn. I mean, maybe he's gonna stay weaker anyway, so it doesn't have anything to do with that. He has also not played politics this turn. So, yeah, maybe he's afraid that he's weaker and he pushed military cards into here. So definitely a very good move by EnderWiggin to get stronger. With the Legion and the 2 free warriors, this was very cheap to get stronger and is very, very solid now and quite good for him because LaoHuang, I mean, EnderWiggin has no idea what cards LaoHuang has played into the deck. EnderWiggin will push and we get the early Uncertain Borders immediately. These cards are backfiring for LaoHuang a lot. This is a horrible start for him, especially that Uncertain Borders is, yeah, that is one of the, or probably the harshest card to come out, and it is the first one. Yeah, tough for LaoHuang to play those cards and lose them, but well played by EnderWiggin. And maybe a little bit much by LaoHuang, or he should have concentrated more on being stronger, but it wasn't that easy, to be honest. So well done under EnderWiggin, who will not upgrade iron yet. He will just build a printing press, grabs drama. So he wants this to go the Shakespeare route for himself. Maybe even Darwin would work or Bach, but definitely having the option to go for Shakespeare. And he still has the engineering genius, so maybe next time we see him grab the magic castle. 3 selections for knights. Okay, so LaoHuang probably has more strength events in the deck and wants to be stronger, and with those knights he should be successful. If he builds one and reveals a tactic, yeah, 9 to 5 strength, so finally he's stronger. He's, yeah, we don't of course know, we will see what the other cards are. If all of them are strength, it's still worth it, but if some of them are not strength, then it was pretty unfortunate for him that the first one was the Uncertain Borders when he was weaker. But he does have 9 to 5 strength now. EnderWiggin will take the Swordsman. He once again has 2 extra rocks from Boudica, which he will use to maybe build a new one. Yeah, he just builds 1 more Swordsman. Upgrades 1 as well. Grabs the masonry. No Himeji castle, so he hasn't found use yet for the engineering genius, but it is from H1, so that's not a big problem. He can still keep it. Not sure if he wants to go for Machu or Forbidden City, but we have wonders in H2 of course as well. Ocean Liner could be great, and even Eiffel Tower or Howard College maybe. So overall, not the best economies as we are nearing the end of H1, because both of them have gone for quite a bit of military. We only see no upgraded iron for EnderWiggin. LaoHuang is 1 upgraded only, so we're at just the cost of going for military. But LaoHuang is stronger now, can hopefully push twice. The first one is Good Harvest, okay. And the second one is Border Conflict, so at least he wins this one. So that's good for him now, getting those extra rocks. Goes for Theocracy. Upgrades 1 iron, increases pop. Yeah, he needs happy faces. That's probably why he goes for Theocracy. It is also cheaper thanks to the Acropolis. Still expensive to grab Theocracy for 2 here, but it can also help with strength. If there's more strength events that he pushed, the Theocracy will help with that. He's also going to run out of time for Caesar, and that is true for both of them. Most of the leaders have been pretty late. Only Columbus, Isabella, and Gutenberg are out, so the rest has been rather late or will be late. And LaoHuang will definitely lose Caesar before his next turn. And he will actually also lose 2 more yellow cubes, so he's going to have some big problems with his happy faces. EnderWiggin will go for Michelangelo. Can use once again the extra rocks from Boudica. So Boudica has provided a lot of extra rocks. So sometimes it feels like a counter to Boudica can be to just go for military, so she doesn't get the free science. But if she can just use 8 extra rocks, I think that's what she's given EnderWiggin, 8 extra rocks for military. That's a lot of military. That's rocks that he didn't have to spend anywhere else. And if we look at this civilization, that's 4 swordsmen. That's 12 rocks in military, and you don't see it on the rest of the board because he got most of the rocks for free. So very, very good turnout for him with Boudica. We will now go for Michelangelo, upgrade 1 of the iron finally, grab an urban growth, and develop the masonry. So yeah, with the Michelangelo, he could still go for Forbidden City, could use the masonry there a little bit. That would also free up some pop with the happy faces, even though happy faces are fine at the moment. Or just the masonry to build cheaper dramas, cheaper printing presses, and so on. He just needs a little bit of population, but that is still okay, I would say. The population. As we start into H2, Caesar will be gone. LaoHuang, as we said, has big problems with happy faces. Thankfully has the Theocracy. Can build a religion. Develop the Theocracy for very little science cost. Destroys an iron to build an extra knight. So he is, yeah, he knows what the top card is. If that is also strength, this is maybe worth it. Messy game for him, definitely. I guess messy for both of them a little bit, but not as much for EnderWiggin. Yeah, he had to destroy a lab because of the border conflict. But now LaoHuang having to destroy a mine isn't that great. Having to spend 2 civil actions on the late Theocracy also isn't the best. But finally, or at least he is stronger now again for the top card. And if that is worth it, then that's good for him. And EnderWiggin probably doesn't want to spend more population into military. I mean, maybe he will just build another swordsman to be stronger once again. But we will find out. So EnderWiggin grabs... Okay, he will still go for the Machu Picchu instead of the Forbidden City. Can finish that this turn. That is a big bonus. Can use the Engineering Genius. Use the Masonry to build this in just 2 stages. We'll get a lot of rock production now and even increases food production by a little bit. Could even grab the Forbidden City as well. But he doesn't do that. He builds an extra printing press. Alright. Science is rather low for both of them. 2 science production now finally for EnderWiggin and 2 for LaoHuang. We have a very early strategy. It's of course very good, especially in this kind of military race we have going on, but the science cost is very, very high. LaoHuang at least does have the cultural heritage. Let's first see what we open. Call to arms. Alright, call to arms. So EnderWiggin will lose 2 civil actions. And civil actions is something we don't have in this game at all. Both players still sitting on their starting 4 civil actions. So EnderWiggin will have only 2 civil actions for his next turn. That's not that much. LaoHuang now will grab the strategy. Let's see if he will skip the H1 leader. He will skip the H1 leader completely. Doesn't want Barbarossa, doesn't want Eleanor. Which is, yeah, okay, sure. Would have been quite nice to get Eleanor, even if you just get back the extra civil actions later. That is good for just transitioning. But he wanted the strategy instead. EnderWiggin could have grabbed it. I mean, I'm not sure if he would have. That would have definitely given him corruption then with those 2 civil actions. But it's still a strategy that's still worth quite a lot. Especially if we knew what these cards were. If they are strength events, again, it would be quite important for LaoHuang to get the strategy. And that's kind of his plan at the moment, I guess, or his path at the moment with the theocracy. So we'll see how that works out. EnderWiggin uses his whole turn to just grab the Cornmon. So both civil actions spent there. He will have corruption. He will be in big danger of rats. If there are rats, that would be quite bad for him. But he will have the Cornmon in his hand. I don't know if he plans to go for a revolution next turn. That would be a lot of corruption in a couple of turns. Because if he needs to save up the 12 science, that's going to take some time. At least he makes sure that Shakespeare is still available for him next turn, if LaoHuang doesn't take him. But I think LaoHuang would definitely prefer Bach with his setup here. LaoHuang will push. We get the immigration, which LaoHuang is able to win. That is very, very good for him. He gets the free pop. Can rebuild the mine, the iron, upgrade 1 irrigation, use the cultural heritage, build an extra religion. I mean, these religions probably want to be rebuilt into operas later on with Bach, so they are not wasted. He's in no danger of rebellion or anything. 2 more turns, then he can go for the strategy, but he is strong at the moment anyway. EnderWiggin doesn't... I mean, he would have even the population. He could pop twice, build an extra swordsman. So we'll find out if he does that, but he just doesn't have the space or the time at the moment. So LaoHuang is still stronger, doesn't need the strategy quite yet. And we, again, don't know what strength events might be coming. EnderWiggin now just goes for the revolution. For corruption, that is a lot of corruption, but yeah, with this Conma, he basically didn't have another choice. With banned science production, saving up the 12 science for Conman would also leave you on almost no science afterwards. This means he will skip Shakespeare, so he won't be seeing Shakespeare in this game. There is still Bach and Darwin though, and especially Darwin would definitely work for EnderWiggin. Not so much for LaoHuang. LaoHuang definitely has his eye on Bach, maybe also Napoleon if he wants to go more military. But I think Bach is very good for both of them. Raiders will at EnderWiggin, who will have not a big problem with that. He has so much stuff lying around anyway. The bigger problem would have been rats. Rats would have been quite bad. But this will be fine. Also next turn he will have a lot of civil actions to pop, probably 3 times or something like that. But now for LaoHuang's turn. He has taken the breakthrough. That's a great card. Can increase pop to get out of corruption. He does that. Could even build another religion. Sure, he does that. More culture production and more potential to rebuild these into operas. But yeah, the breakthrough pickup is quite nice. Next turn he finally has the science for the strategy, and then he won't just go down to 0 science. He will keep 3 science with the breakthrough. With production of 2 afterwards he will have 5 science. So yeah, helping him out quite a lot. Now EnderWiggin opens the developed territory. That is also science. That is also very important, and EnderWiggin will be able to win it for just the swordsman and 2 colonization cards. Bach has also shown up, but EnderWiggin will go for Justice System instead. He wants even more civil actions. And Bach, okay. So, I mean, that's gonna take some time to get the science for... I guess maybe not. He still has the drama, so he doesn't need to go for operas. He can just go for dramas next turn. But he grabs the revolutionary idea anyway, having corruption once again. At this one, I guess we'll have to start questioning the Machu Picchu pickup. And he still has enough stuff, and he's doing something good with his civil actions, like grabbing the calm one, going for it. He had the one turn where he had only 2 civil actions left, and finally has the civil actions, but has to spend those on grabbing Bach for 3 and the revolutionary idea, so that's why he still has, yeah, this situation which doesn't look that good. But at least he's not hurt that much by the corruption, because it's kind of negated by the Machu Picchu. But definitely not the cleanest game from him either. LaoHuang will push once again. We get Dark Ages. Have to imagine LaoHuang didn't know that was coming. I mean, one of these cards was played by EnderWiggin. So now we can't go for strategy. I guess maybe he wouldn't want it anyway. But now the question is, what leader does he go for? I think all 4 leaders that are left are on the deck right now. Darwin doesn't work at all. He needs the happy faces. Newton also doesn't work. Cook doesn't work, so he's only left with Napoleon, really. And he will go for Napoleon just like that. too fast to click here. Just puts Napoleon from the row onto his leader. So strength. Strength versus Bach. We will find out if that will work. Doesn't seem that easy. LaoHuang has no more population, really. He even will lose 2 yellow cubes at the end of the age. This organized religion might help him, but it's going to be gone, and it's the second one as well. So happy face is going to be a big issue for LaoHuang. Could still go for Ocean Liner. That maybe will help him to get more population, to get more military. And I guess he has a lot of rocks, so it's also not looking horrible with the military plan. But EnderWiggin now goes for cavalrymen. We'll develop those. Finally use some of his food to get extra population out. Builds 1 and a second cavalryman. Goes up to 14 strength. Shows a new tactic, the hussars. So he will even get stronger now. Elects Bach. Probably has to develop the drama. No. Yeah, I guess he still has time. Doesn't need the drama this turn. LaoHuang doesn't have a lot of civil actions and can't end the age then. So he just grabs an efficient upgrade instead. Maybe upgrade 1 more of his iron. He will also have some issues with happy faces. Sure, he has the drama, but it only provides 1 happy face. Guess he might rebuild printing presses into dramas, even though going lower on science production maybe isn't what he wants. Let's see, LaoHuang. Oh, that is very, very bad news. I have to question that push by LaoHuang. I mean, I think at this point it's looking very rough for him anyway, and maybe some other cards were really, really good for him. I mean, there's even a chance that the refugees were played by EnderWiggin. I would say it's a rather small chance. But LaoHuang pushing here and getting punished by the refugees is really bad. He needs all his population. He had to destroy philosophy now. EnderWiggin also needs population a lot because he has no upgraded food. So him getting a free population now that he can either put into dramas or into military. Yeah, that is very, very unfortunate. So good job by EnderWiggin to get stronger. LaoHuang now in turn also wants to get stronger once again. Will get the rifleman, so that's good news at least. Has a new tactic, goes up to 21 strength. It's only the conquistadors, so not the best. But for now it will work and make him stronger here. He will even have corruption, grabs an engineering genius. Will miss out on the ocean liner. I don't see that much hope for LaoHuang, to be honest. At least next turn he gets 1 population back. But as we start into H3, EnderWiggin will actually lose drama. I miscounted the cards apparently. LaoHuang was able to end the H. EnderWiggin loses the drama. There is still an opera he could take, but for now he's gonna take Breakthrough, Patriotism, upgrades 1, iron and destroys the other. We'll use that to build an extra printing press. Okay. So Bach is not doing that much at the moment. He builds one religion that he probably later on wants to rebuild into an opera. I mean, maybe it's just enough culture at the moment. With his bigger amount of civil actions, he probably will, or is probably feeling very, very confident to overtake his opponent in the late game in culture if he doesn't fall too far behind in military. So maybe he doesn't even plan on going for the opera or the drama that he just lost anytime soon and just feels like he needs more happy faces, but he doesn't take the team sports. Because he gets population next turn, but that won't be free. Yeah, it's a little bit tough. I mean, of course, he could still rebuild the printing presses into operas. But for now, it feels like he has enough culture and probably wants to make sure that there's not going to be an H2 war, that there's not going to be aggressions, and that he gets some science together. LaoHuang opens the freedom of movement. He can use that to put... what did he put? Iron 2 riflemen. Okay, going down on two iron once again. We'll build yet another religion, denies the opera. He's still so low on civil actions. That's going to be his biggest problem. And no population is also going to be an issue. These religions are fine for now. They just don't leave him with a lot of population to put into military now. He still has go to rocks. Could potentially go for more military. And then we can also put something into his military. He moved a swordsman to cavalryman. That makes a lot of sense. He has the assass, so just building more cavalrymen. Grabs the reserves. Oh, and grabs the Manhattan Project. Great pickup. Population is the issue for both of these players. So getting a wonder that just gives you strength where you don't need population is a good move. Not sure if he needed to grab it this turn, but LaoHuang not having many wonders could have picked up the Manhattan Project next turn. So EnderWiggin denies it here, and it's also not bad for him to get the extra strength, and then he can feel a lot more safe. LaoHuang will push, is stronger again, develop territory. 9 for him. That is gonna be 2 units. That is expensive. But we're also seeing that a lot of these H2 cards that were revealed had nothing to do with military. So LaoHuang got a little bit unfortunate that the first card that he opened was the refugees. Same was true with the first card from the first age, the Uncertain Borders. So the card deck not being kind to LaoHuang, who can finally develop his strategy here. And he grabs fundamentalism. I mean, that's rather cheap for him. He destroys one of the religions he just built to rebuild a knight, so he's stronger once again. It's gonna not be that easy to go for the fundamentalism. First of all, the science cost is still rather high. And second, he needs the happy face from theocracy, kind of. So we will see if that will work out. At least him sending away his units, getting the developed territory means his happy face solution is looking a little bit better, and he won't have such big problems with his religions. Wait, what? We see a war over culture from EnderWiggin on LaoHuang. I didn't expect this at all. I'm gonna be interested to see how much EnderWiggin can do. He can finish the Manhattan Project, going up to 30 strength. And then with patriotism can go for 1 more cavalryman. Grabs reserves. Destroys a farm to build another cavalryman. 37 strength. Grabs Einstein. 37 strength to 24. I mean, LaoHuang has rocks, but maybe no population. And it's quite a big gap, 37 to 24. We will see if LaoHuang can respond to this with a little bit of strength himself. He will push. We'll get the national pride, which LaoHuang is still able to win. Alright. Destroys a land. Destroys a religion. Destroys a farm. Destroys a mine. Alright, destroy everything. Build a knight. Build a knight. Build a rifleman. Build yet another knight. 38 strength for him. So you will be able to win this. But this is very, very costly. I think this was still a good move by EnderWiggin. I mean, now, after the war, it's gonna look not that great when he loses 6 culture and falls even further behind, but the gap still isn't that big. And EnderWiggin still has the option to go for more culture. And this was quite early on, and we see the next war coming down immediately. EnderWiggin going for yet another war. He grabs reserves. Grabs patriotism. He still needs military. 10 rocks, so he will probably destroy 2 printing presses to build 2 more cavalrymen. 40 strength and 47 strength, and I think this time LaoHuang will have more problems defending. He can go for fundamentalism, but that would even leave him with an uprising because of the theocracy. If he builds 1 more knight, he will fulfill the tactic again, so it won't be a big war, but might be big enough. So LaoHuang will just go for the revolution and skip his production completely. I don't know if that's the right move. I mean, he probably did the math. He gets 5 extra strength, but he loses out on his full production. And he could have just destroyed, I guess, destroy an iron to build the knight. Still not that pretty. Yeah, the game is falling apart for LaoHuang now. Having to skip his production will mean very bad next turn for him as well. So 9 culture will switch hands again. So now it's even, but it's even EnderWiggin's turn, who will just go for another war. We see these 3 small wars, but war after war after war, and EnderWiggin can't even go for air forces. He didn't have to destroy everything. I mean, he had to destroy something, but not quite as much, because his military is just a little bit more efficient. He has that Manhattan project, and we're gonna see two air forces. So this won't be a small war, this will be a big one. 65 to 43, and LaoHuang has nothing to respond to this. Popularization of science, 0 to 2, low science game, low culture game, all just destroying and putting into military. Build a knight, 50 strength, but this is a disaster. This is a full disaster for LaoHuang. Will skip production once again, so he's not gaining anything. I mean, he's not really producing anything either. He's missing out on 2 culture production and 2 rocks. But now this is the big one, 20 culture lost once again. Not another war though. EnderWiggin has finally run out of wars. Gets the international agreement out. Will decide against playing that. Grabs an urban growth. Build a religion. Has a little bit of starving population, but not quite. And has reserves for next turn. But I think at this point there's nothing LaoHuang can do. He's just too far behind. And impacts are not gonna get him out of this hole. Ravages of time, LaoHuang will even lose his precious Acropolis. Can finally go for Gandhi, but a little bit too late. But I think even before, Gandhi wouldn't have been the solution. I mean, EnderWiggin decided to put everything into military, but he probably could have also found a different way. Even though if it had gone different, the 2 movies were rather late, so he couldn't have really used Bach to go for a lot of culture. But I still think he had enough other options to do that. Yeah, so let's see. LaoHuang's last turn will start destroying some military units, so he can at least produce the 5 culture, even 6 culture with that religion, but 33 strength, 59 culture versus a lot more from EnderWiggin. Goes for multimedia. Can even upgrade 1 for Einstein. Destroys a unit to build a religion. So clean cut at the end here, I would say. We of course still see those impacts, but I don't think they will change much. We have 3 from LaoHuang, so maybe comes back a little bit. But this gap is just too big. 10 to 0 for EnderWiggin in the impact of science. Government 18 to 19. we get the colonies 3-3, and the last one is variety 14-8. So in the end, EnderWiggin able to win this by quite the margin. But it was still an interesting game. I had the fear that we would have another culture fest when we started. Those can be a little bit boring sometimes if EnderWiggin would have just responded, but we got the early military push from LaoHuang. He did get quite unlucky with some of the event decks, the first one being Uncertain Borders and the second one being Refugees, so that wasn't that great for him. But that is the danger of going for something like that and not staying stronger the full time and still pushing. I mean, he took those risks while being weaker, he pushed. Both of them were shown. Oh no, the Uncertain Borders maybe not on his turn, but the Refugees opened on his turn, so he could have just decided not to push. So yeah, solid play by EnderWiggin, really, yeah, kind of impressing me with Boudica. She was really solid. Usually I think as Boudica, I think of, when I think of her, I think she basically just gives you to choose one of the 3 things, and usually just one science, so usually she just gives one science. But EnderWiggin really showing us that you can also use the other way, the 2 extra rocks for building military quite successfully, gaining 8 extra rocks from her, and yeah, just punishing LaoHuang, who wanted to go for military, but couldn't stay stronger after EnderWiggin got those 3 warriors and the Legion. So yeah, well played EnderWiggin, good try by LaoHuang, but yeah, in the middle of H2 you kind of saw it coming that he would fall behind, but good try anyway. So this is the first of 5 matches to come in this grand final. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game, which was, even though the result was not so close, was still an interesting game in my opinion. And I hope you enjoy the next games as well, which will be coming soon. So stay posted, guys.